Hi everyone, so nice to see you guys here for another Sky Career Talks. Today we're going to be talking about state librarianship and state library careers. Here today with us we have Andrea, who is a 2008 graduate of the MLIS program. Hi Andrea, so nice to have you with us.
Yes, thank you for having me.
She is actually a library consultant for small business development and technology at the New Jersey State Library. Thank you for helping us with this video. I really appreciate your time. So can you tell us a little bit about your current career and how did you get into it and what's your career path?
Sure. So as a library consultant at the New Jersey State Library, I work with the public libraries from across the state. My specific areas of focus are small business development, workforce development, and technology. So I work to increase the capacity of public libraries in those specific areas. And how I got into my position is a little bit interesting. So I went to college to be an English teacher, and during student teaching I realized it really wasn't for me, and I started to apply to grad school, including to Rutgers for the library science program, but I had never worked in a library. My ideas of libraries were really based on my experiences in school and as a child, and when I was accepted I thought I better get some experience before I start taking classes. So I contacted my local library, didn't have any luck, they didn't have any internships. So I needed to find a list of libraries that I could contact. So I Googled New Jersey libraries, and the first thing that came up was the website for the New Jersey State Library. And as I went through the website, I said, wow, this is where I want to work. So I found the contact us page and I sent my resume and cover letter to every manager I could see. And it's funny, in retrospect, I didn't know at the time that there are quite a few people who work there, but it really isn't that big of an organization. And so blanketing with my resume was probably a very funny part of the day, that everyone suddenly had this person reaching out. But my resume found its way to the state librarian at the time, Norma Blake, and she offered me an internship. And I spent 2 weeks in each of the 3 main divisions of the state library: the State Library Information Center, which is the working part of the state library, the working library part with the computers and databases and books; the Talking Book and Braille Center, which serves all residents of New Jersey who have a print impairment or physical disability that prevents them from holding a physical book; and library development, which is where I currently work. And when I graduated in 2008, I was lucky that a position had opened up in the information center, and I was a reference librarian there for about 6-8 years. Time goes at a different pace now.
Nice.
But and then I started in my current position about 4 years ago.
Well, thank you so much for this detailed explanation, because I think it is so important to learn about direct networking that you just mentioned earlier, especially during our current times. There's definitely a lot to be said about direct networking, especially when jobs are a little bit more scarce. So thank you for that. So tell us a little bit more about like technology, what kind of technology you're using, and it's also in your title as well. So what does that mean?
Yeah, so at the state library, and technology is handled by quite a few people. There's the IT department that runs everything in the building. There's Jersey Connect, which provides infrastructure for public libraries in the state. They're managed a Wi-Fi program. They provide some web hosting and things like that. So my title kind of falls in the ubiquitous, undefined technology portion. So my main areas of interest right now are website development for public libraries, since a lot of them are doing it themselves, to make sure that they have the tools to have good websites, which in the wake of COVID is even more important. Your digital presence for your library is as important as your physical presence. and also just other ways that libraries can be on top of technology and trends and use it more effectively.
So what would you recommend? What are the technologies that current students are looking to acquire before they even start the application process?
Sure. So one of the biggest pieces of technology in libraries is your integrated library system, especially if you're working in a public library. That's what connects all the library barcode numbers and patron accounts with all of the collection materials and databases and everything. However, that really varies from library to library. So I think knowing general information about them is probably better than becoming an expert, since you don't necessarily know what a library where you might start working will have, but being aware of those systems. Some of the more important skills to have are things that are not library specific, like website development, including using, WordPress is one of the most popular library website platforms, although some libraries are starting to move into things like Wix, Weebly, and Squarespace. So being familiar with that and some of the widgets and apps that might be integrated for calendars, meeting room reservations, general principles of website design. Social media is very important right now. Having a familiarity with good social media practices, video content, things like Zoom for virtual programs, all of those skills are very valuable, and being comfortable using them. So not being awkward on camera. And some of the other skills I would say are also just a familiarity with some of the main databases, ebooks, audiobooks, and being able to explain them to people is important.
Thank you so much. And so if we normally generally finish our little recording with this question, but if you had one advice to your younger self, what would it be?
Sure. I wish that I had spent a little bit more time learning things that weren't library specific. There are some things that you pick up on the job that are specific to your library, but I wish that I had spent more time learning about budgeting, supervision, and those kinds of management skills. Grant writing is really important. Working with, especially if you want to go into public libraries, knowing the structure of your friends groups and trustees and how libraries are managed, how they're positioned within their municipality. All of those skills are really key to knowing how the organization functions. So I would focus on that. And also one of the key pieces that I would look at if I was hiring somebody would be people who show initiative. It's a huge thing to be able to identify areas that can be fixed or problem areas, but having somebody who knows how to fix them or is willing to explore things is really important. People who are willing to pick up projects that others may not have realized were potential things to do. They will certainly, this is the part that will be edited out. I could try to say that again, I'm sorry.
But you're right, absolutely. Agility is so important in current work environments. And the more you can actually learn about not just your own area, but how to run a business and how to actually be a good leader, how to manage different projects, and that's very understandable. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time with that. Everybody, if you'd like to ask a few more questions from Andrea, please feel free to reach out to her via LinkedIn or connect with us at SC&I Careers, and we'll put you in touch with her. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, Andrea, for your time, and we're ending our recording here. Have a wonderful day. Bye.
Thank you.